Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to another weekly Pick a Card reading. In today's Pick a Card, we're going to cover past, present, and future for you. This could just be in general, or you can come with a specific topic, area of life, or situation going on in your life that you would like to discover more about and see what Spirit wants to say to you about that specific circumstance that you are in. And in today's Pick a Card, instead of seeing an image of the piles and choosing one from there, we're going to go on an interactive, imaginative journey. And this will be broken down into 3 separate parts and therefore 3 separate kind of mini readings that will all connect by the end. So a little journey that we'll venture into and choose your past circumstance, and then another journey to choose your present circumstance, and then another little imaginative journey for your future circumstance. So I hope you guys have fun. I had a lot of fun kind of coming up with the options and deciding on the imagery or the little video clips that I was going to put in throughout. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get to our first selection, which will be for the past. Now, timestamps for everything will be down below. At the end of each reading, you will jump right into the imaginative journey selection for the next, and so on and so forth. I also need to give a shout out to one of our subscribers, Anish, who gave me the idea for this kind of topic choice, doing something a bit more interactive and broken up into separate parts. So thanks, Anish, for this fun idea. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. Timestamps for everything will be down below, and I will see you guys at your piles.
Okay, so we're going to go back into the past, and I want you to relax yourselves for just a second and sink into the energy that feels most familiar to your past, or the part of your past that Spirit wants to bring forward. We're going to go back to where your journey began, and I'm going to give you 3 options. And again, choose the option that feels most familiar to you. Option 1. Your journey begins in the middle of a forest surrounded with tall trees, lining a pathway that is before you, a road with which you must take. Option 2, you come upon a wooden canoe and a winding river. There's a waterfall nearby, and you step into this canoe and begin paddling down this winding river. Option 3, you find yourself in front of a beautiful hot air balloon. You step into this hot air balloon and lift yourself high into the air. Everything below looks small, and you drift away into the sky. Think about those 3 options and choose the one again that feels most familiar to you. Timestamps will be down below, and I'll meet you at your piles.
Hello, group 1. Let's take a look at your past in regards to this current situation, your life in general, whatever it is you asked about. I have a few cards here, but I want to start by rolling the die and see what Spirit wants to bring up for you. All right. Okay, we have Mercury in Cancer in the 4th house. So the past situation that Spirit's wanting to talk to you about has something to do with home and family, childhood, maybe siblings. The 4th house in general is about our home and our private life and our roots, and Cancer is about our mother or our inner mother, okay, so just the mothering nature itself. And Mercury is about kind of our perspective, our bargaining skills, our communication skills. And so there was something in terms of your past, the past situation you were in, it had a lot to do with home life, childhood, roots, family, something like that, but we'll see as we get into the cards. So let's start by looking at the first tarot card from my tarot deck. Okay, we have a level 16, the explosion, and it is upright. It says radical change. Life is being shaken up. Shake up your life, divine intervention. A foundation that never served you is being taken away. For your own good, a path not meant for you is being taken away. It may feel bad or scary at the moment, but in the long term, you will be so grateful for this divine intervention or revolution. Expect the unexpected, explosion, change, and growth. And this card's associated with Mars and Pluto in the 8th house of death and rebirth and transformation. Okay, so it seems like in the past there was something that for a long time really you considered kind of your stabilizer, your comfort zone, your roots, your source, something very basic to your life, to your needs, or something that you thought was. It was the foundation. And it seems like in your past something was shaken up, taken away, uprooted in a very shocking sort of way. It could have had to do with something going on with mom, maybe a death in the family, something going on with siblings, or perhaps nothing actually changed, but with Mercury here, there was a huge shift in perspective, like how you used to view it, and now all of a sudden you feel like you've been awakened to the reality of it. Almost like, I can't believe I was kind of falling into this illusion for so long, buying into this fantasy. Like now I see it for what it is. So it's something that kind of made you feel a little bit shaky and unstable. But as we can see in this card here, Spirit's wanting you to know that it was with a purpose. It was for your good, for your best. For some of you, this could have to do with like a job that was taken away, a promotion that you didn't get. Maybe you were laid off, fired, forced to work from home. Maybe it was an unexpected pregnancy, something like this. But Spirit's wanting you to know that this thing in your past, this shakeup that happened, it wasn't due to some sort of mistake that you made, wasn't due to you kind of straying and going off course. What I can see in this card is that you are on the right path. This experience was somehow a part of your soul's intended journey on this earth. And it's something that may look very foggy or did look foggy in the past, but in the future, looking back, you're going to see how important that moment was. Okay, let's look at the other cards here. We have the Star. Now the Star card actually comes right after the Explosion card that we just read, the Tower card, and that is Aquarius energy. And then we have Knight of Swords, more air energy, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Mercury, which is here in the die, rules Gemini. And from the interactive cards, we have this woman here. She comes up a lot when I use this deck. And you'll notice she's in the dark and she's kind of smoking cigarettes and she's watching these old home films, home movies. But all of the films here are labeled like with negative. These are negative memories or experiences that she's reliving. And this box here that's kind of marked don't touch contains all the good, happy memories. So this is a woman who is reliving over and over and over again the pain from her past, really honing in on the negative experiences that she had, which it's good for us to not be in denial of our negative experiences, to allow ourselves to process those, to grieve them, okay? But everything can get to a point where it becomes too much. Like anything that's overdone is unhealthy. Even healthy foods, if you're eating more than you need to, if you are overeating these healthy foods, it will start having a negative effect on your body. If you're exercising too much, like exercise is healthy, if you're doing it too much, you'll start seeing negative effects. Even water, we can even drink too much water. So even the best of things that are overdone, done too much, become unhealthy. And so there was something that in your past, okay, in connection to this situation you came here to talk about, there was this moment that was painful, or this a lot of time dedicated to kind of focusing on unearthing your perspective on a certain situation, rethinking it, and taking away specifically any illusions or fantasies that you had bought into, like wanting to really face reality, but maybe being a little bit too tough on yourself at the same time. It's good for us to have a grasp on reality, to look reality in the eye, but there's also certain things that are important to protect and censor ourselves from. Sometimes we don't need to know all the details to get an idea of a situation and understand what we need to do. Like we don't need to torture ourselves with all the details to get what we need. Kind of like, for example, if you wanted to ask your mom or your dad, like, how did you and dad meet? What was it like meeting dad? What was your love story like? What you're expecting to hear, what you want to hear and need to hear is, the love story, what they liked about each other, kind of what their first date was like. You don't need to hear, nor do you expect to hear all the details of their intimate life and how that went the first time and, what it looked like. And you know what I mean? That's kind of an example of, kind of going overboard too much. Like, yeah, you want the reality of the situation, but you don't necessarily need all the grisly details. You don't have to force yourself to look at that. That doesn't equate to being in denial. Being in denial is not looking at what is useful and needed to look at in order to know how to navigate forward. So I do feel in your past there was this sort of reckoning with, oh, I want to see everything, I want to know all the secrets, all the details, and I feel like it weighed you down a little bit. There was a lot of good done here though as well, because I do think that, it's kind of like the pendulum swing. It feels like you were on one end for a long time, kind of not addressing the issues, being in denial of them, not wanting to look them in the eye, all the way over here, and then you swung all the way to the other side, where now it's like, okay, now you're going too hard in that direction. But a pendulum will swing on the extreme of both sides before it finally comes down into the middle. But it's got to swing to both sides before it makes it there. So I feel like Spirit is wanting to let you know that you're kind of falling into this middle ground space, which is going to be more practical and more useful for you. I'm also seeing that in your past, there was a lot of, after this grieving and this cleansing through whatever you went through, you were finally able to emotionally detach from the situation and really see it for what it was, without your preconceived judgments or notions, without, kind of like the best example I could give is kind of like when we're children and our parents go through a divorce. For a lot of us, not everyone, but a child's mind understands things much easier when it's presented in kind of a black and white perspective. Children's minds have a hard time understanding the grays and the nuances. So if your parents divorced whenever you were really young, your young mind may have decided that, oh, it looks like dad's the evil bad guy and mom is the good angel. Like mom's perfect, dad's completely evil. And that became the easiest way to look at things. And then maybe as you matured, maybe got married, yourself, or had children, or just got older, you started kind of looking back and thinking, maybe I need to revisit my view of my dad, my view of my mom. Maybe there's more nuance here. Maybe it's not as, black and white, clean cut as I thought it was. But in order to do that, you have to kind of be able to emotionally pull back, because if you are naturally closer to your mom and naturally more distant from your dad, then those emotions coming in could keep you from really looking at the situation for what it is, as if you were a stranger kind of looking in and observing. Okay, but it looks like in the past you were successfully able to do this, to kind of look in and think about, okay, logically, kind of like the person who's laid off from their job. When you first get laid off, you're caught up in these emotions of this was unfair. Your mind can even go into paranoia. I think they had it against me. They're out to get me, blah, 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 blah. Once you emotionally detach, you can kind of step back and say, okay, this is a business that's run like this. It makes sense that, if I was in that place, I may have chosen me to lay off as well, yada, yada, kind of that outside perspective. So that has really enabled you, this whole situation, this learning phase you went through here in terms of your perspective, where you ground yourself, where you root yourself, and why your past. It has cleared the way for your future, because now the emotions have kind of cleared out, everything's cleaned up, dealt with that needed to be dealt with, and you can see your North Star, where you're supposed to head. Not only that, but you can see your honeypot. You can see the goodness that's around you, because you don't have the dark, dirty, mucky stuff clouding it up anymore. You kind of have a sense of your direction. And it looks like in this past situation, you acted pretty quickly on your instincts. I don't feel like you held back a lot of your own thoughts. You got really bold and I better say what I need to say and do what I need to do, like right here, right now. Now, for some of you, this Knight of Swords, one of the messages in the tarot for the Knight of Swords is that he's the fastest moving knight. All the knights are about action, but the Knight of Swords moves quicker than anybody else. And when you're moving very, very quickly, you're more prone to make mistakes or do things you may regret. This knight may start charging so quickly that he just chops off the first head that he sees, only later to realize, oh crap, that person was in my army. I just killed one of my own comrades in battle. So there may have been some things like that happened where you think, oh crap, what did I get myself into? I think I acted too rashly, too quickly. But again, I feel like that's an energy that you're at least learning to manage. At least you've let the energy out. It's new to you. I feel like you held things in for a long time. You chose not to address things for a long time. So of course, your first experience with using your voice, opening up your thoughts, keeping your mind open, taking everything in. At first, that takes a little while to kind of navigate and figure out how to manage that energy. So it definitely, all of this, we'll see how this plays, of this energy here is playing a role in your present situation, and then we'll go to the future next. But let's get to the options for the present, okay? I'll see you guys at your next timestamp.
Okay, now we're going to the second part of our journey to tap into the present moment. And I'm going to give you 3 options, and I want you to choose the one that feels most rooted to you in your present moment, your present state of mind, the energy that surrounds you currently. Option 1, you're living in a cottage in the woods, filled with books, a little fireplace. You're all alone, away from everyone and everything except for the plants, the flowers, and the sounds of the animals around you. You're hidden deep, deep into this forest in your own little cottage. Option 2, you're living in a lovely little boathouse, a house that's floating on the water. You can take your little boathouse wherever the river flows, wherever the lake, the ocean flows. That's where your boat travels. Every day you wake up in a new sort of environment, surrounded by new things, new people, new plants, new animals, mountains surrounding you. Option 3, you're living in a tree house, high in the air. You can see all the land below you. Maybe you have a hammock that you sit in a beautiful view. So take a few moments, think about these 3 options and which one feels most connected to your current energy, the energy of the present moment. And timestamps will be down below. I'll meet you at your piles.
Hey, group 2, let's take a peek into your past. That way we can begin connecting the dots on this situation, this aspect of your life, and see how they connect to the present and the future. So I'm going to start with rolling the die here, see what Spirit wants to bring up for you. Okay, we have Uranus in Aquarius in the first house of self, of identity. And Uranus is a co-ruler of Aquarius. It's about shock, rebelliousness, kind of breaking away from the confines and the constructs of things. And Aquarius is kind of this odd, erratic, very unique sort of energy. Aquarius doesn't worry about fitting in. I mean, Aquarius wants to be a part of a group. It wants to assist in the group, but it's not worried about even making itself stand out, trying to be the center of attention. So it's not trying to figure out like, well, what do people want from me? What is the crowd like? How can I get the applause? No, Aquarius is like not even there. It's like, what? No, I'm just doing what it is I want to do. And because of that, it tends to be a very unique, kind of odd energy, because everyone truly is unique and odd in their own way, but most of us kind of learn to temper that, to kind of hide that, keep it on the down low. But people with a lot of Aquarius in their chart, they don't give an F. They're like, if you're bothered by my weirdness, then I guess that's your problem. I am what I am. So the first house of identity being the self, it feels like Spirit's wanting to talk about a point in your past when you recognized kind of what made you unique and came into a place of no longer wanting to hide that, no longer being worried about whether or not people were going to approve, but just taking on this sort of rebellious energy of, I'm going to do what I want to do. And if that's shocking to people, like, so be it. Some of you could have, I guess we'll see as we get into the cards, like what sort of circumstances this could have been in. It's giving me kind of like teenager vibes. You know, teenagers typically tend to go through a rebellious phase, but it doesn't even have to be that. For some of you, you could have allowed your parents to kind of push you into a certain identity for a certain amount of time, and maybe it wasn't until your 20s, until your 30s, that you were finally like, enough is enough. I'm done playing this role. Like, Mom, Dad, I know you forced me to get this particular degree, but I don't want that. Mom, Dad, I know that you think that I'm straight and I've tried to play along with you all this time, but I'm not straight. Or mom, dad, I know you wanted me to get married to this person that you really approved of, but I'm not happily married. I'm getting a divorce. So something like that, I think, in regards to your identity that's somehow connected to your present situation and what's to come in the future in regards to this area of life. So let's take a look at the first tarot card. Okay, we have the legislator of mentality. This is air energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, the 3rd, 7th, and 11th houses, which are typically ruled by air signs, as well as the midheaven, the life purpose point. And it's in reverse. It says an indecisive, critical, emotionally detached person, a terrible communicator, a nitpicky person, a person that can never be pleased, a person that can't form an emotional bond with others, a manipulator, a person whose words cause damage and discord, a mean, cruel person that cannot be trusted, an abuser. Wow, so it feels like there could have been a specific person in your past that pushed you into this rebellious energy because it was like it got to a point where enough was enough. I'm tired of always trying to please you. I'm tired of always being the nice, sweet one while I take all this crap. Or it could have been society in general, like just feeling like society or the culture at your work environment, in your family environment was just harsh. And you, for so long, just kind of focused on, oh, I just want to keep the harmony. I want to keep the peace. Until some point in your past where you were like, you know what, I've got to allow my own identity to form. I can't keep allowing myself to be a doormat for others or to stay silent for others. It's important that I express myself too. All right, so we have the Fool here, as well as the King of Pentacles. This is Earth energy, so Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And then we have this from the interactive deck. Very opposite energies here. One is kind of the beggar that feels powerless, that feels a huge lack of abundance in their life and a need to really seek out others in order to sustain themselves. You know, this person feels desperate and feels like, gosh, if I can't convince others to give me what I need, I will die out here. I will starve, right? So this person ends up being very, very dependent on others, how others feel about them, what others think of them, whether or not others can help them. They don't feel capable of doing it for themselves. Whereas the King of Pentacles, he's the pinnacle of abundance. He's sitting on his throne. He rules his own kingdom. No one else is going to tell him what to do. He feels capable. He feels powerful. And he is full of abundance in his life, monetarily or otherwise. So these are two very, very opposing energies. For some of you, it could have been a relationship with your father. I definitely see that between the two cards that kind of came to a head at some point in the past. And you decided, like, I've got to walk away from this. I can't continue on in this. But it could have been a romantic relationship as well. Or it could have just been a leveling up that you yourself decided to embark on. Like, I'm going to find my own abundance. I'll compliment myself if no one's going to do it. I'll give myself what I need if I can't get it from anyone else. Like, no more compromising my own identity. No more dimming down my light so that others don't feel threatened by it. You know, from now on, if people are threatened by my light, then they can walk away. They don't have to be there. You know, so I feel like that's kind of the energy you decided to step into. But it would have been after a long struggle of you being kind of conditioned to play nice, to always be sweet, you know, to be tame, to go along to get along type of energy that eventually you rebelled against. And the Fool here represents a new journey, a brand new beginning. It also represents a new beginning, though, that we have to take caution in because it's us embarking on something very unknown, something we don't have experience in. Like it represents kind of a foolishness, naive, innocent sort of energy. And people that are kind of naive and innocent are prone to fall into traps. Like it's only once you've lived through certain things in life that you're like, you know, fool me once, like that's on you, but fool me twice, like that's on me. That's kind of that phrase about wisdom, gaining wisdom and experience. So it feels like with this Fool energy in this past, when you did decide to rebel, although I do think Spirit views it as a good thing that you decided to start forming your own identity, standing up for yourself, carving your own path, it could have led to some things that now you look back on and think, you know, I thought that I was, you know, kind of walking in power, but I see now that maybe there were some things I should have asked for help from others. I think you got to a place where you absolutely didn't trust anyone because it seemed like everyone around you was so harsh or out to get you, or life itself was out to get you, that it's like, I don't want to seek advice from these people for this. I'm just going to have to do it on my own. For some of you, you may have truly been forced to do it on your own. But so Spirit wants you to know in regards to this past situation that it's natural, that like don't be too hard on yourself if you felt duped a couple times, if you felt like, crap, how did I not see that coming? How could I not have known? Because the truth is, you couldn't have known. That's the truth of it. You were on a brand new journey, something new you've never experienced or done before, and it's only natural that your innocence and your naivety in regards to this couldn't have known everything. That's what makes it innocent and naive. It doesn't know everything. But overall, I think it was good that you decided to put yourself first, okay? So Spirit is specifically wanting to talk about a moment in your life when you really decided, I'm putting me first. I'm going to trust in myself. And that's a beautiful thing. And just like we can't ever fully trust in the perfectness of anyone or anything around us. There's mistakes everywhere. Mistakes will be made. Imperfectness is a fact of life. I think it's good that you give yourself that same grace, right? So you can trust in yourself and also know that inevitably some mistakes are going to be made along the way. That's inevitable. That's part of the journey. We should embrace that part. There's no perfect path. You know, there's no way to avoid some of the little pitfalls and things of life. Now, in some ways, we do miss signs, or we can be in denial, or we can not have a real realistic gauge of our capabilities, okay? And that can lead us into some pesky or dangerous situations. But overall, I think it's fantastic that you decided to trust in yourself, trust in this journey, see where it would take you, and be willing to kind of pick yourself back up off the ground when you fell down and learn from the past and just keep rolling and rolling along, okay? The Fool is also Uranus energy. You can see the Uranus symbol right here. But so I'm interested to see kind of how this past situation and energy is going to connect into your present and into your future. So with that being said, let's get to the next interactive, imaginative choice for you guys, and I'll see you at your next timestamp, okay?
Okay, now we're going to the second part of our journey to tap into the present moment. And I'm going to give you 3 options, and I want you to choose the one that feels most rooted to you in your present moment, your present state of mind, the energy that surrounds you currently. Option 1, you're living in a cottage in the woods, filled with books, a little fireplace. You're all alone, away from everyone and everything except for the plants, the flowers, and the sounds of the animals around you. You're hidden deep, deep into this forest in your own little cottage. Option 2, you're living in a lovely little boathouse, a house that's floating on the water. You can take your little boathouse wherever the river flows, wherever the lake, the ocean flows. That's where your boat travels. Every day you wake up in a new sort of environment, surrounded by new things, new people, new plants, new animals, mountains surrounding you. Option 3, you're living in a tree house, high in the air. You can see all the land below you. Maybe you have a hammock that you sit in a beautiful view. So take a few moments, think about these 3 options and which one feels most connected to your current energy, the energy of the present moment. And timestamps will be down below. I'll meet you at your piles.
Hey, pile 3, let's get into the situation from your past that Spirit wants to talk to you about, and we'll see how that connects into your present and your future. So I want to start with rolling the die. Let's take a look at that first. All right, we have the South Node in Virgo in the second house. So South Node is about kind of what we're used to, just what we've always known and already know. The certain situations that we're so accustomed to, we're almost desynthesized to them. It's just like our default mode, like, yeah, this is what we expect of things. And Virgo is it's a very good energy to have around when you're like, I feel like something's wrong here, but I don't know what. Can someone help me? You want to bring in that Virgo person to look things over and say, oh, it's right here. I see the knot here, or here's the spot here that needs to be fixed. It's why, like I say in a lot of my readings, Virgo energy is associated with doctors, because we go to a doctor to do just that. We go to the doctor and we say, well, I'm experiencing this and feeling that, but I don't know what it means. I don't know what it is. The doctor, that Virgo energy, it'll figure it out. On the negative end, Virgo can be hypercritical and almost kind of find problems in absolutely everything it sees, and have a hard time kind of sitting back and enjoying or taking pleasure in things around it. The second house is about our self-worth, our assets, our talents, our net worth, the money that we earn that's in our bank account. So this could be a past situation that's related to a career choice of yours, money habits, or even just the way that you looked at yourself. Were you very hypercritical of yourself? Were you a worrier? Virgo can be a very anxious, anxiety-ridden sort of energy because it's kind of wanting to be proactive and kind of find the problems before the problems find them. So it can put it in a real anxious sort of state. Am I going to lose all my money? Am I making enough money? Am I healthy enough? Am I unhealthy? Am I problematic? Am I not? And kind of falling away into that. And the South Node is kind of an eclipse point. It is an eclipse point. It kind of represents areas of our life where we kind of it's almost like we don't really want to take care of the negative problems in that area of our life, or we don't even want to indulge in the energy very much where our South Node sits. It kind of becomes a bit of a blind spot, I guess, just like the North Node too. But you just kind of like, not interested. So there may be on some level an aversion towards wealth or earning money for yourself that could be reflected either in a lack of career or in a mistreatment and mishandling of money and of finances, or of your own self, your own health. Because when we're mistreating things, that's a subconscious way of stating, I don't care about this. I want to sabotage this. I hate this. I don't want anything to do with it. And that's why it's not, we're not taking good care of it. When we take good care of things, it's because we care about it. We want it to last. We want to nurture it. So it's kind of the opposite of that energy, but we'll see as we get into the cards. Let's start by looking at the first tarot card. All right, we have stage 8 of values, and it is in reverse. This card's associated with the sun in Virgo in the 9th house. It says a menial or low-level job that doesn't make use of your talents and strengths, not the challenging job. Workaholic, being overworked on the job, underpaid for the level of effort you contribute, not satisfied with work, or having an unfulfilling career. Okay, so it does seem that money, job, that seems to be the focus of this past situation that Spirit's wanting to talk to you about. I think for a lot of you, you got accustomed with accepting a lower status in life, maybe in regards to your relationships as well, like almost feeling like you weren't worth asking for more or demanding for more. Like, no, they're never going to give that to me. They're not going to give me what I ask. I'm barely worth what they're even giving me at the moment. So this sort of lack of belief that, first of all, money is not something negative or evil. Asking for more doesn't make you greedy. And also knowing that you deserve more doesn't make you egotistical. So there was something in your past that brought up a lot of these emotions, kind of, you could have been questioning your feelings and thoughts about this, or you could have not been questioning them and kind of allowing it to lead you to a place of just unhappiness, like not really being able to see your value or even ask that others see value in you. So let's look at the other cards here. All right, we have the Emperor. This is Aries energy. 6 of Swords. Oh yeah. And then the mom with all the arms doing everything at once. Yeah, very, very typical. Yeah, so with the Emperor, it came up in reverse. That typically represents someone who is almost like too demanding, too controlling, maybe a bit selfish in their way of thinking, not someone who is willing to compromise at all, and can be very harsh in the way they handle and utilize their own power. So it could have been a marriage, a romantic relationship in which you had a partner like this, or it could have been a job, a company in general that didn't treat you very well, maybe your own parents, or worst case scenario, it could have been you yourself that was doing this to yourself, being very harsh, very critical, overly demanding. And oftentimes these energies can seep out in all these different areas. But it feels like at some point in this past situation, you were like, you know what? I've got to try and find calmer waters. I've got to try and find my peace. Like, this isn't going to cut it for me forever. I don't know if I can do this forever. Because I see here that you were being overworked and underpaid. And not even just in terms of money, but there's so many forms of payment that we receive through compliments from others, through gratitude, through others showing us appreciation for what we do, like in regards to a romantic relationship. You know, our spouse doesn't hand us money every time they're pleased with us, or at least I hope not. You know, typically if we clean the house and we make a good meal, our form of payment would be our spouse recognizing that and saying, gosh, thanks, hon, like the meal was great. Thank you for all the effort you put in here and there. So it feels like in all these sorts of areas, you were kind of deprived of that sort of form of payment, and were likely even depriving yourself of that, not even remembering to recognize for yourself, like, you know what, I did a good job today. I really appreciate the work that I put in. I gave it my all. I did really well. But I do see that at some point in your past, in this past situation, there was this conscious decision to like move more towards that north node energy, try and balance it out with the south node. And the north node energy in your case would be in Pisces, because we've got south node in Virgo, which is all about it's about healing. It's about being a bit more relaxed and easygoing, also allowing more room for imagination, art, dream, play, beauty, you know, not always just looking for the negative in everything. And the eighth house is about death, transformation. It's also about our joint assets with others, in which we are expecting to receive benefit from others in some way, and not just feel like we've got to do everything for ourselves. But you know what? I've got to find the people, places, and things that are truly going to be joint, interdependent with me, in which I can really rely on them to see my value when I'm able to see theirs, instead of always just trying to give it to myself and allowing no one else around me to see that or respect that. No one else needs to see my value. No, that's okay. I'll just keep being mistreated or doing this work, being underpaid. I can handle it. You know, finally being like, you know what, I can handle it, but I don't want to. I want to find the boss that sees my potential and that pays me what I'm worth. I want to find the partner that is, you know, enjoys complimenting me, enjoys telling me thank you, because I want to do that for them. So yeah, this past phase or issue that Spirit's bringing up is a point in your life where you were like, you know what, I need to seek balance. It's a point in your life where you realized that you were too far in one direction. And while you don't necessarily want to go all the way to the opposite extreme, you do want to try and go more towards the middle, create a life that feels a bit more balanced, where you don't have so much weighing down on your shoulders, where things feel a bit more peaceful, where you can relax a bit more, you know, be around people in which you can kind of let your guard down and be a little bit more chill. And so, yeah, we'll see how this connects to your present situation and into your future, okay, in the next couple of readings. And with that being said, let's actually get to your next option, your next selection choice, okay? So I will see you guys at your timestamps. Bye.
Okay, now we're going to the second part of our journey, to tap into the present moment. And I'm going to give you 3 options, and I want you to choose the one that feels most rooted to you in your present moment, your present state of mind, the energy that surrounds you currently. Option 1, you're living in a cottage in the woods, filled with books, a little fireplace. You're all alone, away from everyone and everything except for the plants, the flowers, and the sounds of the animals around you. You're hidden deep, deep into this forest in your own little cottage. Option 2, you're living in a lovely little boathouse, a house that's floating on the water. You can take your little boathouse wherever the river flows, wherever the lake, the ocean flows. That's where your boat travels. Every day you wake up in a new sort of environment, surrounded by new things, new people, new plants, new animals, mountains surrounding you. Option 3, you're living in a tree house, high in the air. You can see all the land below you. Maybe you have a hammock that you sit in a beautiful view. So take a few moments, think about these 3 options and which one feels most connected to your current energy, the energy of the present moment. And timestamps will be down below. I'll meet you at your piles.
Hello, pile ones. Let's see what your present situation looks like and how it's connected both to the past and where you are headed in the future. So let's start with a roll of the die here. See what your present situation looks like. All right, so we have Jupiter in Pisces, which is good. Jupiter rules Pisces, and it's in the 6th house. This is beautiful. I love this. First of all, Jupiter is a planet of wisdom, of expansion, growth. It's a planet with a lot of integrity, that really knows right from wrong, but also isn't afraid of new things, open-minded enough to kind of explore new areas. It wants to know more. It wants to be rooted in the truth. And Pisces is a sign of healing, a lot of unconditional love, a lot of imaginative growth, artistic growth, and expansion as well. In the 6th house, that's the house of our bodily health. Okay, that could be improving the health of your body, your mind. In day-to-day responsibilities, our acts of service for others, our kind of day-to-day planner and schedule. What time we wake up, what sort of habits we engage in. Do we exercise? Do we eat right? Do we show up to work on time? For a lot of you, I feel like this area of your life is expanding currently. Work life may be quite busy at the moment. You could be kind of feeling this need to, gosh, in order to kind of handle the day-to-day, I'm going to have to kind of plan and organize things out. I'm going to have to make sure that I have enough energy to kind of do what needs to be done. So let me make sure I'm going to bed at the right time. Let me make sure I'm eating the right foods to help with that. It's kind of like this self-improvement journey that you're on right now in terms of I feel like your productiveness as an individual is improving, as well as how you look at yourself, like your ability to express love towards yourself, forgiveness is improving, and I see a lot of healing going on in that area. And it's interesting because as you're healing yourself internally, like making sure that you speak kinder to yourself, that you nurture yourself, that you compliment yourself, that you love yourself, you are seeing the positive effects of that in your outside world. You're kind of able to juggle a little bit more. You're able to push yourself a little bit farther. You're accomplishing things in the past you didn't think you'd ever be capable of doing this, that, or the other. So I think that's fantastic for you guys, and I'm excited to see in the next reading where that is meant to lead you in your near future. But let's take a closer look at this present situation. All right, so we have stage 3 of feelings, and it is in reverse. This is associated with Mercury in Cancer in the 11th house. It says needing to network or have a social life or have some fun. No support from friends, lacking a friend group. A friendship or friendship group that has broken down, an argument amongst friends or within platonic relationships, not seeing eye to eye with friends, locking yourself up at home, all work, no play, taking life too seriously, losing friends, or being far away from friends. Interesting. So perhaps this expansion that I've been talking about in regards to your habits, your day-to-day life, it could have cut you off from your friends, like to where there's really no time because of all the things you're managing at work or in your home life. Or it could have been a breakdown with your friendship groups that kind of ended up isolating you anyways, and you're using this time of isolation to your benefit, as best as you can. Kind of like, well, I can't hang out with them anyway, so might as well focus on what I can do. I'll try and improve this or clean up that. I do feel like I'm getting a message from Spirit that this whole thing with your friends, your friendship group, your tribe, you know, it's a temporary phase, okay? Maybe I'll see in the other cards kind of why it's happening, what's going on there, what you're supposed to learn from that. And I don't even know so much that you guys are really feeling, I'm not feeling too much pain, I guess, but on some level, I feel you kind of being bothered or questioning, like, is it okay that I don't have a whole lot of really close friends? Does that mean something, you know, something wrong with me? Um, but I'm not feeling a lot of grief from it necessarily, just more of a, maybe I need to look into this, you know, but really you're doing a good job of not, even if the situation was painful, I'm seeing that you are doing a good job of kind of saying, okay, there's really no point in wallowing in the pain or frustration or the loneliness of this because there's nothing I can do right now to affect or change it. So why don't I just kind of pull away from that for the moment and focus on what I do have control over, which is me, myself, and I, my responsibilities. And I'll distract myself with something good in the meantime, and then maybe all this can come back together at a later point. So I think that that's good. I think that's the right decision to make. But let's look at the other cards, maybe get a deeper picture of this present situation. Oh wow, we have the Death card. This is Scorpio energy. And the Sun. This is a Leo energy. And then look, full moon in Sagittarius. Look at the bigger picture. And Jupiter also rules Sagittarius. So we've got lots of Jupiter energy here. And then we have a healing anger card. It says things that have been out of balance will soon be back in balance. As I remove confusion and gain greater clarity in my life, order will be restored. Beautiful. Yeah, so you guys are in a present situation of cleaning up some things, healing some things, focusing on your responsibilities and allowing room for expansion, for growth, for new possibilities. And for a lot of you, this could mean that you had to pull away from your past, let go of some people, maybe some people that engaged in certain toxic habits and activities that you yourself are trying to heal from. And maybe that puts you on a very different page from them and it's just no longer clicking, it's just not working. You know, it's almost like you're at a different stage in life than them. And again, I'm not feeling malice or hatred or anger necessarily, just more of a bittersweet, nostalgic realization. And I do feel that you guys are, there's a slight questioning beneath all this. Even though you can see the improvement going on in your life, part of you is like, but am I doing the right thing? Is it wrong for me to move on and improve and have to leave others behind? Is that okay? Spirit wants you to know that, yeah, it is. You know, the Death card represents a brand new beginning, transformation, a big ending of something. And it represents a new level of maturity. You're maturing into something new. And a lot will be left behind in the process. But look at what comes next, the Sun, the happiest card in the tarot deck. For a lot of you, there's a focus on kind of the family that you want to create. You know, like I don't have time for all of the friends and all the people that I did before because right now I'm trying to think about the future I'm wanting to create, my future family. You know, the type of person I'm going to marry and start a life with, the kids I'm going to have, or the career that I'm really wanting to study towards. Like I've got to stop living so much in the present and the now and start thinking more about where I want to end up in the future and am I doing the things I need to get there? And I think that that's really, really good. And the other thing too with this healing anger card is it kind of speaks on what this card did, the first one I went over. You're doing a very good job in this present moment of recognizing that certain things are out of your control and not your responsibility. And the best thing you can do is kind of pull back, allow the confusion to dissipate, you know, get a bigger picture perspective and kind of leave things be that need to be left alone and focus on what you can. So I think that that's really, really fantastic. You guys are in a great spot in the present moment. Even though I do feel a lot of newness and some uncertainty, Spirit wants you to know you're doing the right thing, you're making the right choices, and there's going to be a big payoff in the end. You know, right now, you're wanting to make sure that you craft a life for yourself that you don't look back on and regret. Like, oh, I wish I would have done this. Why did I put off that? Why did I waste my potential here? Why did I, you know, and you're thinking about that. You're kind of putting yourself in the mindset of you 40, 50 years from now, looking back and trying to make sure that you do all the right things to get to where you want to be, okay? So make sure that you continue pulling yourself out of the details of any of the situations that you are in presently, and keep that focus on the big picture, because that will keep your emotions in check. It will keep your emotions more stabilized. It will keep you from going into an anxiety spiral, because that's what happens when we're caught up in all the details. No, just kind of realize that in life, most things work themselves out with time. Sometimes the best action to take is kind of none at all, except in regards to your responsibilities, the things directly under your control. So take care of that. Keep focusing on that. Focus on you. You're doing an amazing job. So now let's get into our last selection, which will be looking at your future and what's to come. And if you're in this good of a spot now, can't wait to see what you're going to be doing in the near future. So let's get to that last selection, and I will see you at your timestamp below.
Okay, now we're going to take a journey into the future. I'm going to give you 3 options. These are going to be 3 different dreams, the types of dreams you would have while you're sleeping. And I want you to choose the one that your intuition feels most drawn to. Option 1 is a dream that you have one night in which a mysterious owl continues dropping handwritten letters off at your doorstep for you to read. You don't know who wrote these letters or where they came from. All you know is that it's this owl that's bringing them to you night after night. Option 2, you have a dream that you're in the ocean, swimming alongside a beautiful, giant whale. Yet you feel safe next to this whale, like it's protecting you. And you're in awe of its magnificence, its grandness, and you feel free as you're swimming below the ocean with this massive whale. Option 3, you have a dream in which you come upon fairies in the forest. The fairies seek you out and ask if you would like to be transformed into one of them, maybe for just a night. And you decide to transform with them, and you spend the rest of your evening playing in the fairies' forest and the fairies' home, celebrating in their parties, their get-togethers, flying with your new little set of wings. Okay, so take a moment to think about these 3 options, these 3 dreams that could have come to you in your sleep, and choose the one in which your intuition is pulling you towards. Timestamps will be down below, and I'll meet you at your piles.
Hey, option 2, welcome to your present reading. Can't wait to see what's going on with you presently and to find out later kind of how that is going to lead you into your future. So let's start with a roll of the die, as always. Let's see what Spirit wants to bring up for you. Okay, we have Uranus in Virgo in the 9th house. Now, the 9th house is about our college education. It's about long distance travel. It's also about our religious and spiritual beliefs. Virgo is a sign of kind of looking at the details and the facts of a situation, pinpointing what's wrong, figuring out what's right. Virgo really keeps things working like a well-oiled machine should. And Uranus, that's the planet of kind of shakeup, shock, rebellion, kind of like the lightning bolt that comes in and zaps something, wakes something up. So I feel like you guys are currently in some sort of present situation which is causing you to grapple with your idea of the truth. What is the meaning of life? What is this all about? Your religious and spiritual beliefs could be going through a big change. Certain things that you used to believe in, you may be like, but I don't now. And I do feel like whatever it was, or it could be, you know, a college degree that you wanted to study before, that now that you're kind of in it, you're like, no. Or a culture shock through some sort of travel experience that you've had that's making you look at your own culture differently. But whatever it was, there was some sort of like sudden awakening, like you're presently in some sort of big aha moment where it's like your mind feels like it's been zapped and awakened, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, no, I don't want to do that, or I don't believe that, or I do believe this. So something like that, but we'll see as we get into the cards. All right, we have stage 9, so another 9 of mentality. and it's in reversed. It says not fully happy yet, but not in as much pain and grief as before. Beginning to see the light, finally getting some rest and peace. Gaining a bit of positivity or positive outlook after a really dark and depressing period. Regaining a sense of control over one's life. Ready to get out of bed. It's associated with Mars and Gemini in the 12th house. So yeah, this little shakeup or shock could have led you through like you could kind of temporarily be in a low phase, or I get a sense that previously it was a bit lower than where you're at now. You're starting to feel a little bit better. You're starting to kind of put the pieces together from this shakeup, but a lot in you has shifted. I almost feel like you're kind of like that butterfly that is just now starting to break away the cocoon. Like part of the cocoon is breaking, and pretty soon it's gonna completely break away and you're gonna bloom into this butterfly. I feel like there's a lot about you that has changed and that is changing currently, where, a few years from now, you're gonna look back and be like, God, I don't even know who that person was. I feel like a totally different person. I feel like my soul has been transplanted or something, because it's shifted a lot. I feel that there's a lot of maturity going on with you. You're looking at things in a more realistic way currently, and you're able to take in the facts and the logic without it breaking you. I feel like before there would be a lot of, almost like it would be a traumatizing experience for you to soak in all of the negative data and information, maybe about yourself even and others, coming to terms with your faults, coming to terms with your own limitations. I feel like a lot of you have just recently come to terms with the idea that, you know what, I can't be everything and anything. That's not possible, and that's okay. It's okay for me to take a good hard look at what talents and assets I do have, and what things I don't have, what negative traits I have, what difficulties I have. It's okay to look at both and not get disgusted or depressed about the things that may be considered negative or lacking. That's okay not to be blind, it's okay to kind of face that, to not need to keep myself blind to that. So I feel like the way you view yourself is changing, and therefore the way you view kind of the overall meaning of life for you, what sort of life you are supposed to have and create, is adjusting as well. Because now you're understanding your limitations, whereas before it feels like you were in denial of them. So you kept running against these rock walls, these brick walls over and over again, just bruising yourself, hurting yourself, torturing yourself, trying to break down this brick wall, for example. And then it almost feels like one day you were like, why do I feel like I need to break this wall down though? Like, why don't I just not? I don't think I'm strong enough. I don't think my body is capable of breaking this brick wall. And that's okay. I'm just not going to break it. I'll just walk around. I'm going to go this way instead. I'm just going to give up on this brick wall over here that wasn't meant for me. Like, only a bulldozer is going to take that down, and go in another direction. So even though I do feel like it was a difficult phase for you to go through, I'm seeing now that the light's coming in. You're starting to feel more comfortable with yourself. You understand your identity on a deeper, more profound level. And you are taking stock of all the things that make you amazing and all the things that you need to work on, and your natural human limitations, that you can't be everything for everyone, and you can't accomplish just anything at all. You do need to look at what you're capable of, and therefore, and what's meant for you also. And what isn't meant for you in this life. Like, why did I really come down here to learn? I feel like that's what you're questioning. Maybe if I focus on why my soul really came down here, it will help me kind of pick the right path, carve the right path. I want to listen to my soul, my intuition. I want to follow that. So let's look through the other cards. All right, we have the Hermit card. This is Virgo energy, which matches up with the die. We have the Strength card. This is Leo energy. We have the Disseminating Moon. Take time to breathe out. Beautiful. And we have a Healing Sadness card. It says, I now effectively communicate the clarity in my mind to everyone around me. Beautiful. So the Hermit card is about a phase of going within, of no longer wanting the influence of society or other people's opinions upon you. really deciding that, you know what, I just need to go within. I need to listen. I need to tap into my soul, my intuition. I need to connect with God myself. And I need to, for a moment, just kind of be in solitude, be in my own space, because I don't want anything else at this time to really influence my decisions. You know, I want to seek the answers to my questions on my own. I need to rely on myself in this moment. I need to be my own guiding light, because only I can truly speak for and lead myself. Other people might have great advice, but it's going to be advice in regards to their life experiences, their personal soul's journey on this earth. And perhaps their soul's journey looks much different from mine. So it's time to go within, okay? I think that that's a fantastic phase for you to be in, whether it was by choice or forced upon you, okay? Some of you may have had a breakup recently that forced you into this space of solitude and soul searching. And because I do think there was something you guys were clinging on to, whether it be a certain career goal, a certain person in mind that you wanted to marry, or otherwise, that you had really, really clung to. You had decided, this is it, this is what's for me. And something recently in your present made you realize like that maybe that wasn't for me. Maybe it was pulled away because it wasn't for me. And I want to find out what is for me so I can follow that. The strength card is all about recognizing your own inner strength, recognizing your ability to overcome more than you thought you could, and overcoming things with love instead of with anger, with revenge, with that sort of mentality. The strength card is about healing, navigating through situations, and believing that you're capable of it. That's what is most important. The woman in the strength card, you know, who was asked to tame this lion, that is a scary feat. But she had this belief in herself that, you know what, this is terrifying. This is freaking terrifying. Wow, but I'm going to do it. I can do it. I'm strong enough. I can do this. And I could just feel you kind of saying that to yourself in this present moment. Like, damn it, I'm stronger than this. Damn it, I can do this. Like, I am not going to wallow in this situation. I will not be a victim. I can handle this. I will get through it. And I'm going to get the answers that I need from going within, because I have the answers that I need. I can connect with God on my own. And I think it's really, really great. This is an important phase for you right now, because you are learning how strong and how capable you really are through and through, regardless what life throws at you, regardless of the twists and turns that are inevitable. You are finally stepping into a realization that you are strong. You have limitations. It's good to recognize your weaknesses. We all have certain weaknesses, certain soft spots. You know, for example, there's always going to be people who are better at math than I am. You know, it's not necessarily my strong suit. That's okay to admit. I mean, I'm definitely not going to sign up for any math championships, you know, because I kind of know that about myself. Not only that, but sometimes there's things that I'm really good at, like I'm naturally gifted at singing and always have been, and I like singing around my house. But I'm not going to pursue singing as a career or try and force myself to use that somehow in career, because you know what? It doesn't really bring me that much joy. So it's important to really look at our limitations and also get to know ourselves really well. Because if I was going to refuse to acknowledge my limitations and just decide that, ooh, the most respected people in the world are the people who are really, really good at math. And that's what I want. I want to be respected in the world. So even though I don't enjoy math, I'm going to study math. I'm going to turn it into a career. I'm going to go into math championships so that I can have that respect from society. And guess what? I'm not that great at math. It's not a natural thing of mine. I also don't enjoy it. So I'm going to keep feeling out of place in that world, the world of mathletes, you know. Or I could say, okay, well, I did an assessment of my talents and I'm a talented singer. So I can't just waste this talent. I've got to pursue singing. This is what I have to do. Meanwhile, every single time I perform, I walk away feeling drained, not fulfilled, because yeah, I'm good at singing, but I don't enjoy it. So a happy life is one where you kind of recognize your limitations and recognize your strengths for what they are, and then also recognize, well, what is it that fulfills me? Being able to block out the outside world, not figure out what gets me the praise that I want, what gives me the admiration that I want. No. Forget all that. What makes me feel good? Like if no one was here, if I was on an island on my own, what would I gravitate towards? So it feels like you guys are in that sort of phase right now in this present moment. You're kind of taking a breath out, you're having a little bit of time alone, and you are questioning these things. And I feel like you are communicating much, much better, not only to yourself, but with those around you. Because now that you've decided that, you know what, I, I'm okay with kind of knowing my faults, addressing them, owning up to my limitations. That knocks down that wall of pride that may have been up before. And so it makes your communication more effective with other people, because then if someone says, I just feel like you're being so stubborn, that's not going to trigger you. You're not going to be like, what? I'm not stubborn. How dare you say that? I'm the least stubborn person I know. You know, now that you've kind of assessed yourself and thought, you know what, maybe I am a little bit stubborn. Now when someone's like, I feel like you're being really stubborn, you're going to be like, yeah, well, you know, I am a little bit stubborn, so deal with it. Or, oh, damn, I'm sorry. I know I can be stubborn sometimes. I'm not trying to be. But you know, the communication flows a little easier because your ego isn't as fragile anymore. You're really kind of, I don't know, you know yourself through and through, and you're comfortable with all aspects of that. You know, the positives, the negatives, all of it. And you're just kind of you're working with your limitations and your strengths. And kind of crafting your idea of what you want your life to look like, what it is you believe in, what you don't believe in, and kind of reshaping a lot of things. So congratulations to you guys. I can't wait to see where this is going to lead you in your near future. This is leading you towards a certain career path, a certain relationship. Let's take a look. So let's get to our last selection, which will be for the future to come. And timestamps will be down below, and I'll see you guys there. Bye.
Okay, now we're going to take a journey into the future. I'm going to give you 3 options. These are going to be 3 different dreams, the types of dreams you would have while you're sleeping. And I want you to choose the one that your intuition feels most drawn to. Option 1 is a dream that you have one night in which a mysterious owl continues dropping handwritten letters off at your doorstep for you to read. You don't know who wrote these letters or where they came from. All you know is that it's this owl that's bringing them to you night after night. Option 2, you have a dream that you're in the ocean, swimming alongside a beautiful, giant whale. Yet you feel safe next to this whale, like it's protecting you. And you're in awe of its magnificence, its grandness, and you feel free as you're swimming below the ocean with this massive whale. Option 3, you have a dream in which you come upon fairies in the forest. The fairies seek you out and ask if you would like to be transformed into one of them, maybe for just a night. And you decide to transform with them, and you spend the rest of your evening playing in the fairies' forest and the fairies' home, celebrating in their parties, their get-togethers, flying with your new little set of wings. Okay, so take a moment to think about these 3 options, these 3 dreams that could have come to you in your sleep, and choose the one in which your intuition is pulling you towards. Timestamps will be down below, and I'll meet you at your piles.
Hello, option 3, group 3 for the present. Welcome to your reading. I can't wait to see where you're at presently, how that might be connected to your past, and where that means you're headed in your future. So let's take a roll of the die here, see where you're at. All right, we have Mercury in Virgo in the first house. So Mercury rules Virgo. First house is all about the self, our identity, who we are, how we appear to the world, how we look to others, how we dress ourselves, what labels identify us, who we identify as, how we describe ourselves, all these sorts of things. Mercury is about communication. It's also about kind of gathering data, using our voice to bargain for ourselves, to effectively communicate with others. And Virgo, which is an energy that's come up in a lot of the readings actually, is kind of this energy of kind of getting things organized, looking at gathering all the data, gathering all the details, and making some conclusions, coming to some conclusions, fixing some things that need to be adjusted, like pinpointing, okay, wait, I need to fix that, I need to adjust that. But overall, just really kind of getting things organized, taking a good hard look at everything kind of within your control under your domain. And maybe speaking about that, thinking about that, shifting your perspective. So I feel like a lot of you are in a present moment of an identity shift. You're shifting your identity. Actually, I think you're kind of more, but I think you're going to get into a big identity shift. It feels like right now you're kind of taking a good hard look at your current identity and trying to figure out if that still fits you or not. Or if anything needs to be adjusted there. Like, is this really how I want to approach the world? Do I want to continue dressing like this? Does that fit me? Does this lifestyle really fit who I am now? Is there anything in regards to my body, my appearance, how I view myself that maybe is causing me some issues? Maybe it doesn't match up so well with me anymore and I need to kind of change or adjust. Some of you may be considering things like plastic surgery or changing your hair drastically, or maybe getting new clothes, updating style, tattoos, piercings, certain workout routines or diets that you're thinking about going into. But for a lot of you, I don't really feel like there's action being taken necessarily. It's more of, I want to think about this. I want to look this over. I want to figure out if I feel comfortable anymore in this current identity or if it's time to make some shifts. It's kind of like an information gathering phase, but let's look at the cards and get some more info. Okay, we have stage 9 of feelings, and it is upright. This card's associated with Jupiter in Pisces in the 11th house. It says you get your wish, a wish come true, joy, elation, fulfillment, gladness. Your cup runneth over. The wish card, boasting with pride, boastful even to the point of being smug about it, showing off what you got, feeling incredibly lucky. This is beautiful, you guys. So it sounds like you guys are in a present phase of really getting comfortable with yourself, feeling good about yourself. It feels like you may have received something recently that kind of boosted your sense of pride. So it feels like something in the outside world that came to you, maybe a certain award, a new relationship, a compliment from someone, a certain amount of money coming in, like something that came in from the outside that made you start rethinking how you felt about yourself. Like, maybe I'm better than I thought I was. Maybe I am capable of being this way. Maybe I am this, that, or the other. And yeah, something that makes you feel quite lucky. But it's really boosted your confidence in a sense as well. It's boosted how you feel about yourself internally and how you identify as a person. Like, wow, maybe I'm actually a catch, for others. Maybe I must be a more valued or better employee than I thought I was, because look, I'm getting rewarded with this, that, or the other. Some of you may have started like a new business venture, okay, for example, and it's just now starting to get traction. You're bringing in clients, or maybe you're getting good reviews, and it's kind of like, wow, okay, maybe this is something I could really pursue, like for real. I must be better than I thought I was. So let's look at the other cards. Okay, we have the Strength card. This is Leo energy, prideful Leo. Then we have 3 of Pentacles, 3rd quarter moon. It says adjustments are required. And then we have a healthy self-esteem card. It says love, humor, charisma, and creative and intellectual abilities attract loving and nurturing relationships to me. Beautiful. So yeah, with the 3 of Pentacles, I'm seeing that there's some sort of work collaboration, maybe a project that you did at work that was recognized or you were rewarded for. Or I also feel like 3 of Pentacles a lot of times is about kind of people coming to you for advice or looking up to your skill in a certain area and showing that by, asking for your help, asking for your opinion on something. So it feels like there's something you've gotten really good at recently, and it could be in regards to just, personal advice for others or a specific skill at work or otherwise that you're getting recognized for, maybe not necessarily through an award per se, but through the way others are treating you. People are leaving good feedback. People are complimenting you. People are, stopping to ask for your opinion before they make a decision on something. And that's making you feel really good. The Strength card, that's Leo energy. Leo energy is all about like feeling that shine within, like I deserve the applause. And look what I'm going to do now, everyone, like kind of showing off, not being shy or not being being embarrassed to kind of show off your skills, show what you think is good about yourself. And I also see a lot of you're kind of delving more into your creative side in the present moment. You're exploring that part of yourself, that the inner child part of you that maybe wants to play with this or learn that or be self-expressive in this, like put on a little show for others. And it's paying off in a really positive way. And it's interesting because it's the reactions of others around you or the reaction of the world around you that is indirectly boosting your own self-esteem. You're feeling kind of lifted up on a pedestal at the moment. And I love that for you because sometimes it does take other people telling us that we're beautiful for us to finally realize and accept, I am beautiful. Because I mean, everyone's saying it, so now I know that I am. Whereas obviously it's always good for us to be able to recognize things for ourselves without needing other people to do it for us. But it is true that sometimes we, not that we need that other person, but boy, can it make a difference in our self-esteem hearing it from someone else, like getting that validation through someone else. And I feel like you guys are getting that right now. Now, with the adjustments are required, that does tell me that, yeah, kind of like what I was feeling when we just had the die. I don't feel that you've taken any real tangible action towards shifting your new identity, because I do think your identity is going to shift in a big way in the future, even just in the way that you look to others or the way your social media profiles are presented, things like that. This feels, that'll be more in the future. I feel like right now it's kind of a phase of just allowing people's praise to come in, looking at the reception that you're getting from the crowd, from others, and really just feeling good and boastful and lucky in that energy. But it will, the fact that your self-esteem is going through such a boost, there's such a good confident energy coming in for you, it's going to give you this sort of the courage that you need to step into who and what you truly, truly are, which in a lot of ways I think you haven't discovered fully yet. So it's not that you're denying your true self, not at all. You are being very, very authentic at this time, but there's new things about yourself that you haven't discovered. And the fact that your confidence in your self-worth is going through a phase of increase, abundance right now, it's going to allow room for these new discoveries about yourself to emerge, things you didn't realize were within you, maybe new talents, okay, as well. So beautiful, beautiful energy. Let's get to now the last pile selection, the last little imaginative journey, and see where this Leo fame-like energy is going to lead you in the near future. So I'll meet you guys at your timestamps.
Okay, now we're going to take a journey into the future. I'm going to give you 3 options. These are going to be 3 different dreams, the types of dreams you would have while you're sleeping. And I want you to choose the one that your intuition feels most drawn to. Option 1 is a dream that you have one night in which a mysterious owl continues dropping handwritten letters off at your doorstep for you to read. You don't know who wrote these letters or where they came from. All you know is that it's this owl that's bringing them to you night after night. Option 2, you have a dream that you're in the ocean, swimming alongside a beautiful, giant whale. Yet you feel safe next to this whale, like it's protecting you. And you're in awe of its magnificence, its grandness, and you feel free as you're swimming below the ocean with this massive whale. Option 3, you have a dream in which you come upon fairies in the forest. The fairies seek you out and ask if you would like to be transformed into one of them, maybe for just a night. And you decide to transform with them. And you spend the rest of your evening playing in the fairies' forest and the fairies' home, celebrating in their parties, their get-togethers, flying with your new little set of wings. Okay, so take a moment to think about these 3 options, these 3 dreams that could have come to you in your sleep, and choose the one in which your intuition is pulling you towards. Timestamps will be down below, and I'll meet you at your piles.
Hey, option one, let's see where you are headed in your near future. I'm really excited for you. Let's start as always with the roll of the die. All right, we have a Neptune in Pisces in the 6th house. Interesting, so Neptune is a co-ruler of Pisces. Neptune is about fantasy, illusion, magic, and Pisces is a very mystical, artistic, spiritual sign. Both of these energies together give a lot of psychic energy, a lot of intuitive energy, and a lot of an ability to transmute energies and transform from one energy to another. A lot of actors and actresses have kind of Neptune and Pisces up in the 10th house, and that's what allows them to kind of transform into different characters, to kind of be whoever they need to be. The 6th house is about our day-to-day work, our life as an employee, our work life, as well as kind of what's under our umbrella of responsibilities, our health, our habits, things like that. So let's take a look at the cards and see what this means in terms of your future and where you are headed. Okay, we have stage 5 of feelings. We have the World card. This is Saturn energy, which rules Capricorn and Aquarius. We have 2 of Pentacles. We have the Networker. Ooh, and the Magician. This is Rahu, the North Node. All right. Okay, let's read the stage 5 feelings card. It is upright. It is associated with Mars in Scorpio in the 5th house of romance and love. It says regret, living in the past, mourning, not yet over a loss, not seeing the potential for the future, spending a lot of time crying over the spilled milk, dealing with the death of a relationship or a person, heartache, heartbreak, having a hard time remaining positive, caught up in emotions of the past and past mistakes, forgetting to recognize that not all is lost, seeing the glass as half empty instead of half full. Okay, now let me start by saying that I know this card comes across very negative. It's not a lighthearted, happy card. But in terms of predicting the future, readings that predict the future, no tarot card reading that's rooted in truth and in the message and light of God, which is what I work with, is going to give you negative predictions for your future that's going to leave you feeling scared and uneasy and paranoid and on edge about what's to come. So I first off want to say that if this card was coming up in a past reading, I may touch on, a loss that was experienced, something you've already been through, and what this card wants to say to you about that. In terms of a future reading for you all, this card is not predicting the death of anyone in the family. It's not predicting some major mistake that you can't turn back on. It's not predicting anything negative, okay? So I want to specify that. What this card is talking about is that at some point in your future, you are going to be bringing up stuff from your past, okay? Thinking again about something from your past that was difficult for you to go through, reliving it for whatever reason. So this could be that a certain conversation brings up these feelings for you. For some of you, it could be that in the future, you actually plan on finally going into therapy. You want to do some inner work, some inner healing. And what does therapy do? Well, the therapist is going to want to talk to you about your past, about your regrets, about the pain and trauma that you went through. So especially with Neptune and Pisces here, which is about healing some things, I feel like in the future, you are really, really going to be taking a deep dive into your subconscious, your psyche, to try and understand the subconscious connections in what you do, why you do it. I feel like you're going to be evaluating certain hangups you have. Like, for example, maybe you've always had this irritating habit of procrastination until the last minute. I feel like in the future, you're finally going to be like, I'm tired of dealing with this. I want to figure out where this kind of need for me to procrastinate all the time comes from. Like, I want to unearth this and heal this. Let me get to the bottom of this and figure out what is the driving force between me and this urge to procrastinate. So you're going to be lifting the veil on a lot of things, understanding the connection for the purpose of success and growth, for the purpose of the fact that you are really going to be focused and driven to achieve success in your life, and you know that there are certain patterns and frustrations, just annoying things about yourself. Kind of feels like a self-sabotaging energy. Like, why do I always feel the urge to do this? Why do I always feel like I've got to overindulge or put things off till the last minute? Or why can't I get organized? And you're finally going to realize that, okay, I've got to start with the roots. It's not enough to just keep trying to mask this. You know, I can't just keep putting the Band-Aid on this cut that just doesn't stop bleeding. Like, it's time for me to go into the doctor and see why this cut is there in the first place. Heal it so I don't need Band-Aids anymore. That's what I feel like you guys are going to be doing. So this is a positive change for you guys in your future. This is going to bring you towards earthly abundance and success, a lot of wisdom. Okay, so there is nothing to fear in this, this future card for you, this stage 5 of feelings, because you are going to be, healing a lot of things in your subconscious. I'm seeing a lot of dreams happening for you as you move through this phase. Your subconscious is going to try and help you out by bringing you some dreams with some important messages to unearth there. So Spirit's also wanting you to be aware of that. Maybe start doing a little dream journal, or at the very least, just take a few moments when you wake up every day to try and remember, like, what did I dream about last night? Maybe look up the symbolism. Take some time to do that, because your brain is going to be working in overtime to help you heal these things. Because I do see with the Two of Pentacles reversed that you've gotten to a phase, I think, presently where you feel like, gosh, I'm juggling a lot. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed with how much I'm juggling. But you also kind of look at other people who seem to juggle just as much as you do, if not more, with ease or without a bunch of stress. And so you're kind of starting to think like, maybe there's some things that I need to deal with or talk about or figure out so that I can increase my energy levels, increase my productivity, accomplish the things I want to accomplish without feeling like there's always a chance that I'm going to come in and self-sabotage, like just really being tired of that and wanting to take control, which is what the Magician is all about. The Magician is powerful. He has control over his situation. He knows how to manipulate a situation in his favor. He knows what ingredients he needs. He's a master of physics and astronomy and all this stuff. So it feels like you are, and it says here on the card, I am a master manifester. In order to manifest, we really have to believe in ourselves. And I think you're recognizing in the near future that subconsciously there's this kind of lack of belief in me. And I'm tired of that. Like, I want to really fully be able to believe in myself wholeheartedly. And that's where I see that you're going in this near future. Now, the Networker card says, enhances unity through the sharing of information and engenders social awareness and empathy. So yeah, I feel like communication is a huge part of this for you. That's going to be really where you focus your energy. Communication with the self, with therapists, maybe with different family members, you know, parents, like, hey, do you remember this? Or do you think our family has a bad habit of this? Or, you know, kind of unearthing some things. Also with friends, kind of sharing what it is you are realizing about yourself, improving about yourself. You could be posting things online, writing letters to people, journaling, dream journaling, doing a manifesting journal, but writing songs, writing poetry. So the dreams and the writing, communication, speaking, singing, these are going to be huge catalysts for you in unearthing your potential, increasing your earthly success, your abundance as a person. That's really going to be your focus in your near future. The World card, this is a card of like ultimate success and achievement. And at some point, I feel like you're recognizing it now. There are certain hang-ups, subconscious self-sabotaging hang-ups that stop you from getting to where you want to go. And you're going to be healing those, unearthing them, taking away the illusions, the things that the habits that maybe you thought, you know, served you in some way. Now you're going to be like, you know what, but this habit doesn't serve me. It's nice to believe that it does, you know, but it doesn't really. So maybe it's time to take that away. Maybe it's time to look at this. But you'll be going back into the past to do so. And I think you're also going to be realizing that a lot of what drives this subconscious train that is in your head, that self-sabotages you or that weakens you, has to do with some guilt that you haven't dealt with in your past. So there's a part of you that's very angry at yourself. And because of that anger, it doesn't believe that you deserve happiness. It doesn't believe that you deserve success because it's angry at you. And that it is really you yourself. On some level, you are still angry at yourself. You are still pointing the finger and blame at yourself for a mistake in your past, certain regrets. You haven't forgiven yourself for something. And that lack of forgiveness for yourself, that deep inner hatred, that regret, that guilt that you're putting on yourself isn't going to allow you to achieve success, because God damn it, you don't deserve success. There's something deep down inside that's like, no, I don't want to see you happy because you're a jerk. You're an evil person. You're a bad person. And it's just filling you with shame and guilt. So that is really what is going to be unearthed in the near future. Like, what is it that I have not forgiven myself for that I really need to? And I'm telling you guys, it's so subconscious that it's going to take a while for you to really get down into those feelings and emotions and pinpoint exactly what it is and how to deal with it. Because we all have mistakes. We all have regrets. And even if you're able to say that out loud now and know it, it doesn't mean that on some sort of subconscious level, there's something there that's still angry at you, that doesn't want to see you move forward and be successful because they're mad at you. And it's a part of yourself, okay? So that's the part of the past you're going back into. This part of this moment in your past that's left you with regret, with guilt, with shame that you haven't forgiven yourself for, and that is holding you back. And you're going to unearth it, and you're going to heal it, and you're going to step into your power. Grasp on to all forms of communication during this time. Open up to people, talk to people, write it out, journal it, post it, whatever it is. Get it out. Just let that flow out of you. Write yourself a letter. That would be a great idea too. But yeah, this is all setting you up for success. The world at your fingertips. The world is my oyster. What magic do I want to create? And wow, you're just going to feel really unleashed in your power, extremely powerful, extremely capable of manifesting what it is you want, able to fully rely on yourself, know that you can rely on yourself, know that you're capable of juggling all the tasks and responsibilities that you need to, because you know you are capable. So that's the future phase that you're entering into, which I think is fantastic. Be sure and comment down below. I would love to know the past and present and future piles that led you here. So if you did like pile 1, 3, and 2, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you enjoyed this reading, how it connected with you. And I look forward to seeing you guys in next week's Pick a Card reading. Love you guys. Hey, option 2, group 2, let's take a look at the future that you are walking into. Let's start with rolling the die, okay? All right, we have the moon in Capricorn in the 7th house. 7th house of marriage, of partnership. With Capricorn here, it also could be related to some sort of business partnership, an audience that you're trying to gain through work, clients. It could also have to do with just a restructuring of your one-on-one relationships, the relationships in your life that are really dear and important to you. The moon here is a lot about our emotions, our minds, motherhood, our own relationship with our mother, psychic abilities, our inner creativity and our subconscious. So Capricorn's really, really good at building a legacy, really solid foundation and a legacy. And I feel like in the future, you are going to be restructuring and creating a legacy for yourself in terms of the people who you attract into your life, the important relationships in your life, finding a place of emotional comfort with others and within others, which is fantastic for you. Let's look at the cards. Okay, we have spiritual growth and values. We have the Hierophant. This is Taurus energy. 2 of Wands. Ooh, we have the Knight, guys. And we have the Mystic, which is a card for K2 or the South Node. Okay, guys, there's a lot of cards here along with the die that for some of you in the future or near future, you could be meeting your marriage partner, your spouse. The Hierophant card with the Knight, with the 7th house, are all kind of signaling that. Or in the future, there could be a big focus on your marriage. Some of you may already be married, but you could be going through a stage of focus on that. Maybe where that's being prioritized above everything else. Maybe like, okay, I've got where I wanted to in my career. Right now, I really want to focus on marriage life or on my relationships, on my family, on my children, something like that. But let's read the spiritual growth of values card. It says the ability to make slow and steady progress in a way that will benefit humanity. Analytical and forward-thinking mind. An unpaid volunteer that's passionate about serving others. Making a difference in the world one meal at a time. making a difference in the world one donation at a time, a healer, a helper of those less fortunate. This is associated with Uranus in Virgo in the 11th house. Beautiful. So coupled with that Hierophant card, some of you could be working with nonprofit organizations in the future, or just donating and volunteering a lot of your time or a lot of your emotions towards others. Like I feel like in the future, you're feeling really, really good about yourself, very healthy, very secure, very stable. And so your cup of love is kind of overflowing. You're so stable within that now you have enough to freely give out to others. And you're going to be taking advantage of that extra that you have to give to people that are in need, or people in your life that you love. So maybe in the future, you're going to be offering a lot of advice, guidance, and help towards family and friends. Or maybe you're literally going to be helping the poor, the more misfortunate, through nonprofits or through spirituality in general. With the Mystic here, K2, it says on the card, I am spiritually wealthy. So I feel like in the future, there's near future actually, not starting right about now, there's going to be a restructuring of your value system, where you're going to start prioritizing the emotional and spiritual over the physical and tangible. So some of you may decide to actually leave your job, to take a lower paying job, or decide that, you know what, I just want to stay at home. I want to be a stay-at-home parent or spouse. Or, you know what, I don't care if I'm making a ton of money doing this. I want to go after what emotionally and spiritually fulfills me. So yeah, I'm going to be making a little bit less, but this is where my heart wants to go. It's what I want to do. So yeah, you guys are going to be really following your emotions and your heart in the near future, and allowing that to guide you along with your intuition. And your priorities have shifted in a really positive way, where you are prioritizing the spiritual and the emotional over the material, the physical, the money, the things in your life are no longer going to have as much value. You're in a phase of recognizing how relationships for you are everything. That's what's most important. Like, what good is a life lived with no one there to share it with? So I feel like there's this realization for you guys that, wow, I've been focusing so much time and energy on wanting to achieve like material success in the outside world. But you know what? I've got to be more in balance, because if I'm just all focused on success, where's the joy for me? Like, I want emotional connection with others. I want to make a difference in people's life. Like for some of you, you've gotten to a place where you're really earning a lot of money, like more money than you need. And you're going to decide that with that extra, I want to start giving out money to people I care about, giving out money to people in need, donating to things. So it's really, you guys are entering a stage of abundance in your joy, in your happiness. Your internal fulfillment feels really, really good, but your abundance is really just overflowing. You guys just feel very joyful, very happy, and very stable in your relationships, which I think is extremely important for you. The Knight card says loyalty, romance, and chivalry, and a love of honor. So I do feel for all of you, your romantic life in the near future is going to be receiving a big boost. The Hierophant is about commitment, long-term commitment. Okay, sorry guys, my camera was full of storage, so I had to go through and delete stuff. But what I was saying here was that I think in your near future, you're going to be feeling very stable and committed in your relationships. You're going to have a huge amount of trust in the relationships around you, and they're really going to help ground you. And you're going to be focused on creating a legacy created on the impact that you have on others and in the lives of others. You're going to be thinking about how your energy can make other people feel better, how you can be of assistance to others, how you can help guide others. And you're going to really be, immersing yourself in your one-on-one relationships and the relationships you have with your clients, really sharing your emotions with others, allowing others to become more vulnerable and intimate with you. And yeah, for a lot of you, I do think there's going to be a romantic relationship that you're going to really, really sink into in the near future, whether that be through engagement, marriage, or maybe just those beginning stages of the relationship, or maybe a boost in your romantic life with a relationship you've already had going on for a long time. Just really dedicating more time into that relationship. But yeah, you're really going to be a blessing for others in the future. Like, you feel so good and so healthy and just so well that it's like you have the strength, you have the ability to now give to others, to pour out your energy onto others because you've put yourself first. You've successfully put yourself first, healed yourself first so that you can be a strong figure in the lives of others. And I also see with the Two of Wands here that you're going to be in a planning stage for your future. You're going to be thinking about some new possibilities. And maybe it's your relationships that are going to be influencing that. But you're going to be kind of thinking, I'm really enjoying this. I've really liked how I've shifted the priorities in my life. Things feel better for me now. And I wonder what else, I could plan for in my future. I want to plan things for myself with others in mind. So not just planning for your own success, but kind of thinking about, how can I achieve my success, but also have others by my side, maybe other people with me, partners that are there with me, doing something as a joint venture, compromising a little bit on both ends to bring something to fruition that we're both happy with. And that's kind of the mindset that I see you guys in. And the Mystic card, key to, it's all about, tapping into the spiritual, no longer being so connected to the material. But the funny thing about that is, that's technically an abundance mindset, no longer being so worried about a lack of material abundance. You kind of are like, no, you know what, I'm fine. I'm spiritually wealthy. I'm good. And that relaxed state of kind of like, no, I'm already abundant, actually brings in more abundance. So I do see abundance overall for you increasing. A very relaxed feeling within of like, I'm grounded, I'm rooted, I'm solid, I feel good, I feel healthy. So congratulations, you guys. I'm really, really happy for you. Let me know down in the comments below like which options you chose for past, present, and future. I would love to know. And what you thought about this style of reading. And I will see you all in next week's Pick a Card. Love you guys. Bye. Hello, option 3, pile 3. Let's take a look at the future that you are headed into. What is to come? Let's roll the die first. All right, we have the 10th house. Venus in Scorpio in the 10th house. You guys, this is powerful. So the 10th house is the house of our career, of our legacy, of our public life, what's exposed out there. And Scorpio is a very intense, very powerful sign. It's a sign of intimacy, of transformation, the ability to forge through life, control, gain what you want from others, from the world around you. And Venus is a planet of love, of relationships, but also of everything we value, our possessions, our money. So I'm seeing a huge power boost for you guys in the near future in terms of your public life. So public recognition, career could be really boosting off for you. Your love life could really be in a public sphere in the next few months where you're being recognized for that, noticed for that. Your beauty is being recognized. Your money, how much you earn, like all this stuff, it feels like it's being put out in the public on a pedestal where people are kind of like, wow, kind of oohing and eyeing at your success, whatever that is that you have, monetarily, love-wise, or beauty-wise, whatever. So we'll see as we get into the cards. All right, we have the Investigator of Mentality, and it is reversed. We have the Justice card. This is Libra energy. We have the Temperance card. This is Sagittarius energy. We have the Hero or Heroine card, and we have the King. This is a card represented by the energy of the Sun. The Hero card and the King card go very, very well together. Okay, let's start with reading this Investigator of Mentality. It says, not feeling ready to make a decision, even though it's needed. Lacking the talent or experience in public speaking, no longer curious, or no curiosity, a shy person that doesn't talk much, or a person with learning disabilities or difficulties in learning. This is associated with air energy, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The Justice card is Libra energy, so we have more air energy there. The Justice card typically talks about relationships, or like one versus another, kind of two things that are up against each other. And the Justice card is always a call to bring in balance, a karmic balance, balancing the scales, a repayment of karmic debt. So when the Justice card comes up, it can sometimes mean that there is karma to be paid to someone, good, or whether it's good or bad, it depends on the situation. The Temperance card is it's a card of healing, okay? but it's always about an ability to temper a situation. What does it mean to temper a situation? It means to kind of cool it down, to tone it down, to not really go to extremes, to kind of navigate through things very cautiously, slowly, carefully, in such a way that healing can truly occur. Because when we zigzag through extremes, that can just create more chaos. So with the temperance card, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to slowly kind of blend these things together to heal something. With the hero, heroine card, and the king, I feel like in the future, you guys are going to be recognized as heroes for something significant. So for some of you, it could be that you investigate something and unearth a secret, okay, that ends up saving a lot of people or making people aware of something important. Okay, it's like in the near future, you're going to have this courageousness in you to lead some sort of mission, to expose the secrets, expose the injustices around you or that you are in the middle of, bring it to light, and you're going to be saving some sort of situation. Okay, so I feel like it was important you came to this reading because Spirit's wanting to boost your courage to set you up for this mission that they are going to put you on. So for some of you, it could be you find out that someone at work is stealing, doing something that they shouldn't be doing that could cause detriment to the company. It could be that you actually work in some sort of, like, maybe you're a detective or you work in some sort of industry where that is your job. You know, you work for the court system. Or it could be that you step in to help out a friend or a family member that's in a difficult situation, doesn't know what to do, and they're feeling too weak to deal with it. So you come in, you're able to temper the situation and to really save the situation, save the people involved in it. For some of you, you're going to make a phone call to the police, to the justice system. Maybe you notice that a child is being mistreated, isn't in the right home. Maybe you're in social work, something like that. Okay, you guys are going to be recognized as powerful people, heroes, people that exposed something that needed to be exposed, but didn't do it with malice, with an energy of like revenge. No, you did it with a tempered, sort of wise, calm, cool, collected energy, a strength of kind of knowing how this sort of delicate situation needs to be handled. Truly, without you in the middle of this situation, I don't know what would have happened, because you're really the saving grace in all of this. You are the calm force in all of this. So yeah, there's going to be some sort of decision that you're going to come into contact with in the near future, a decision in which most people would be too scared to take action on. Most people would be like, I don't know, I think I want to put this off, I don't really feel ready to decide, maybe confused. And you're going to come in and say, no, I know what needs to be done. Don't worry. Leave it to me. Follow me. I know what needs to be done. And you're going to help make justice happen. So this is a big deal, you guys. This is pretty important. For a lot of you, I do think it has to do with career, but because of the 10th house, but it doesn't have to. What it will do is it will affect your overall legacy in a positive way. This will be a moment in your life that people remember you for, that people talk about and say, wow, like, do you remember when this happened? And if not for this person, I don't know what we would have done. Yeah, their energy was so fantastic, so needed. So I feel like you're going to be helping someone or a group of people through a difficult time, or bringing justice, much needed justice into a situation. I know a lot of the stuff I've been talking about sounds like such a grand scale, you know, it's on such a grand scale, and obviously it won't be like that for all of you, but at the very least, it'll be something in your personal life. It's weird because it doesn't feel necessarily connected directly to you. It's almost like you're going to go help save someone else. So maybe a sibling, maybe a friend, maybe a parent, maybe the neighbor, you know, something like that, where a spirit is really wanting to use you to help guide someone through a situation and to save them. And it's going to be something that you're known for. And I also think for a lot of you, if you're not in a career that allows you to use this energy that you have this really great energy of being very tempered, calm, cool, collected, knowing what's fair and what's not, uncovering, investigating things. It really should be used in your career. And maybe this moment in your future is going to help awaken that passion inside of you, that purpose inside of you, that I need to be in a line of work that allows me to use this. I want to be a hero for others, a leader for others. I want to help bring healing, justice to the situations in the world. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe you guys have a Scorpio midheaven. but you don't have to. But I feel like some sort of situation, okay, I'll put it as vague as I can. There's going to be a situation in your near future which you will be remembered for and which will awaken you to your purpose in this life, okay? So I know it sounds like, I mean, even for me, I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I'm seeing this in the cards, but this is what I'm seeing. This is a big deal. So I feel like this is one of those readings where right now you're listening to it and thinking, I have no clue what she's talking about. Okay, whatever, that was weird. But 6 months from now, maybe 3 months from now, maybe a year from now, this is going to happen, and then you're going to think about this reading and you're going to remember me saying this to you. Okay, I guarantee it. So I'm excited for you. This is going to be your mission, your mission to lead the spotlight where you are going to shine on. You're going to do a fantastic job. So comment below, let me know what piles you guys chose for your past, present, future. I'd love to know how they all connect personally for you, and I will see you in next week's Pick a Card reading. Love you guys.